It has been 1,000 days. It has been 1,000 days since the beginning of the Russian-Ukrainian war. It's 1,000 unnecessary days. Remember, there was a peace deal on the table. There was a peace deal on the table that Tony Blinken and Boris Johnson went into Istanbul and blew up that peace deal. This was just 5 days into the conflict. We could have stopped this entire war, and in fact, Ukraine would control more land than they currently have ceded to the Russian Federation. This is 1,000 days of hundreds of billions of dollars being spent. A generation of Ukrainians has been vaporized. And by the way, yes, tens of thousands of Russians have also died. They are human beings too. And no matter how much the media tells me to believe that Russia is our enemy, I reject the premise. I don't think they're our friend. I don't think they're a nice country. In fact, I think they're really corrupt and full of oligarchs. But I refuse to delight in the suffering of Russians. Tell me why I'm supposed to hate Russia exactly. Don Bacon, well, I'm glad he won his seat, to be honest, in Omaha, has this outrageous new clip, and we should find it, where he says Donald Trump lacks moral clarity on the Russian-Ukrainian war. I'm going to ask Don Bacon, both privately and publicly, tell me how many people in Nebraska have died because of Russians. How many people in Nebraska have been killed because of Russians? I could find you thousands of people that have died because of the cartels. I could find you hundreds of people that have died in Nebraska because of drug overdoses. I could find you dozens of people that have died in Nebraska, Iowa, Minnesota because of illegal crime. So the entire machinery of Washington, D.C. is heavily invested in continuing this Russian-Ukrainian war for 1,000 days. At the outset of the Ukrainian war, this show, even though I have to say the emails have changed on this conflict. When we first took a moral stance against American involvement in the Russian-Ukrainian war, I'd say that 90% of our audience was in favor of Zelensky. Now, that has changed, obviously. But at the outset, we on this program recognized how deadly our involvement was. We said it was a mistake. And we keep on asking the question, and I would love an answer from somebody without insulting, smear, or slander. Why is Russia our enemy? So please, and speak slowly because I might not understand. Why should we be at war against Russia? What have they done to us? Okay, not a good country. They don't embrace free speech. Putin is an oligarch. They have corrupted elections. Totally agree with all that. I'm not saying it sarcastically. Why are they an enemy worthy of getting closer and closer to nuclear war? So Russia literally has thousands of nuclear weapons, more than we do. A mistake at this conflict, an accidental escalation, could blow up the entire planet. And breaking today, on the 1,000th day of the Russian-Ukrainian war, it's hard to even put into words how reckless, how irresponsible our ruling class is. American-made missiles are now being shot into the interior of Russia. Now, I want you to imagine how America would respond if the cartels on the southern border were shooting in Russian missiles into America. These people, I'm going to put this as crisply as I can. The American left would rather see the world burn and blow up the world than give up power. They are handing Donald Trump potentially nuclear war. Obama's ambassador to Russia, Michael McFaul, a lunatic, has argued that we can win a nuclear war with Russia. That is so insane, it's not even worthy of our attention. This is Don Bacon, who, again, I'm glad he won his seat because now we have a House majority because of it, and that's critically important. But there's just a perfect picture of the D.C. consensus, the war machine. Play cut 24.
Let's let Ukraine fight hard and go after military targets in Russia that are attacking or bombing Ukrainian cities. And I don't know why they waited till now to do it, but I'm glad they made that change. Now, I talked to President Zelensky personally on this, and this was his number one issue: remove the rules of engagement they're making it harder for them to fight the war. And so I support that. I do have concerns by some of the things that I would say the lack of moral clarity from the former president, the future president.
You had to sneak that in there, Don Bacon, former president and future president. What lack of moral clarity exactly does President Trump lack? He doesn't want nuclear war. There are military figures in Ukraine who are 100% committed to this war. They don't care if they start a nuclear war, as long as it brings America in and as long as it destroys Russia, even if hundreds of millions of people die. Donald Trump wants an end to the killing. He wants the war to end. So taking a step back here, on the 1,000th day of war, I want to just repeat the news that is now breaking today. We have been worrying about this for quite some time. CNN breaking news. Ukraine fires U.S.-made longer-range missiles into Russia, Russian state media reports. Ukraine has fired U.S.-made ATA-CMS missiles into Russia's Bryansk region. Russian state media reported Tuesday, citing the country's defense ministry, after the Biden administration gave Kiev the green light to use the longer-range weapons against targets inside Russia. So the missiles are attacked. So most of the missiles were shot down, but now American-made weaponry is being used as an offensive war into the interior of Russia. Do we want a hot war with Russia? Are we already in a hot war with Russia? Do we want to get closer to a nuclear war? Is their plan to hand this unspeakable mess to Donald Trump? And why now? The only explanation could be that this bipartisan group of war worshipers want to screw up the Donald Trump presidency so much, they would rather watch the world burn than give up power. They would rather watch the entire civilization be cratered because they think the civilization is already gone because they think Donald Trump is Hitler. This is so irresponsible. And I bet Donald Trump is going to get on the phone right now with Zelensky and Putin saying, I'm the president in however many days. I'm the president in 2 months, in 62 days. Knock this off. President Trump's moral clarity on this war is one of the reasons why he won the election. The American people did not vote for a warmonger. If they did, they would have voted for Liz Cheney and Kamala Harris. And now Vladimir Putin is changing his nuclear doctrine in response to missiles being fired into the interior of Russia. An open invite here before I get to one of my partners. Can a single representative who thinks this is a good idea come on the Charlie Kirk show? Can you guys defend your ideas? Of course not, because you're like college leftists. You guys run away and call each other names, call people names when you disagree. But hey, it's just nuclear war, right?